Hi everybody, it's Lori with Main Street Gardener. I'm a Zone 7B garden outside the DC metro area, and today I have such a fun, fresh project. I'm actually outside. It is a gorgeous day. It's going to be almost 60, and it's just beautiful. So I thought I'd come outside and start an early spring container. So I have been overwintering a lot of plants from my containers last year. I just popped them into nursery containers and I've been storing them in my basement. Now I fertilized them back in late December, early January, just to continue the healthy growth and getting a little bit of blooms, but just wanting to keep them really healthy. And it definitely made an impact. So what I thought I would do today is actually take some of these plants and combine them into a spring container, or actually it will end up being a summer container because I can use this actually throughout the entire growing season. So I've got some asparagus fern, I've got a spider plant, two different types of geranium. This is one that has a beautiful pink bloom, and I showed this in a video a while back. I'll try to put an image on the screen. This looked almost dead, and with some fertilizer and water, it's doing great. And there's actually, I think, 3 little plants in here. So I'm going to try to divide it as we go. So I thought today we just mix these in, and I have some moss that is soaking right now that I thought we could add on top of the container. Now, we are still not warm enough to leave this outdoors. So I will take this back inside, keep it under my grow lights, but it's just going to be one more thing that's ready to go as soon as the weather warms up. Just in a couple short weeks, I'll be able to move this container outside. It also is going to save some space in my grow room by consolidating these plants, and then I can see what I have left. I may be able to divide these today to get some extra containers. So what I wanted to use today is this very old basket. It only has one handle. I have weatherproofed this, and but it's really weathered and gray, and I just love the kind of vintage characteristic of it. So I thought it would be a great, I like the scale. It's not too tall, it's not too big. I can tuck this somewhere on my patio. I could tuck it up in my shade garden. So lots of different options. So this is what we're going to use today. All right, let's jump in and get started. Okay, so to get started with our spring to summer container today, the first thing I need to do is line the basket. I want to make sure it's waterproof and also somewhere to hold all of our soil. So I'm just going to use a good old-fashioned black trash bag, and this is a pretty large one. And what I like to do is I will trim it after we add all our soil and our plants, just to be sure that we keep it nice and tight. Now I'm just going to take my little Velcro clippers and I'm just going to come in and add just a few holes, just enough for water to kind of poke through, kind of feeling around. Let me add just one more. Okay, I think we're good to go. Now let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and add our soil. Now for today, I am just adding a basic potting soil. Okay, I think it's going to take 2 bags today. Now these plants are pretty large, so I'm just going to come in and make sure that it's almost filled to the top. We'll add more soil as we go, but I think that will work. So I love to use this little tidy mat. They just snap together the ends, and it's just a little, I mean, you could use a plastic bag, you could use anything you want, but I have this, and so I like to use it. It's just going to help us so that as we make a mess. All right, so I'm going to start first, I think, with this geranium, and I'm going to see how we can divide it up. Sometimes I use a hori-hori, but I think for this one, I think we can just come in Just press on the roots a little bit and slowly tease these out. Look at these amazing roots, you guys. That is so, so great. So now we've got one beautiful geranium that's going to just grow and grow. And then, oh, I actually think we're going to have 4. Now I think I want to go ahead and check this geranium. We may be able to divide it also. Oh yeah, I think actually these were smaller plants and I just kind of stuck them all in here. This one's all twisty. I think it's so fun how these grow. These are a different variety of geranium, and I love the little delicate flowers. And the foliage is what I really grow this one for. I think it just gives a beautiful pop of something different in the garden. Okay, so we had 4 in that container also. Now I'm going to check this gorgeous spider plant, which I think is just one plant, but let's go ahead and check it out. I love to overwinter, usually about maybe a dozen plants. It brings me joy. It also is saving a lot of money. And geraniums are the easiest because you can just have them year over year over year. Oh goodness, this guy is look at those roots. I'm gonna go get my 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐓 knife and then we will divide this in half. These types of ferns are just so easy to divide once we're just gonna slice it and then we'll have 2 plants and it's just gonna grow and thrive. So I'll be right back. Okay, so this is a 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐶𝐄𝐓 knife. If you haven't used one, I like to get mine from the company Bare Bones. I'll put a link in the description of the video. But it's serrated on one side. It's got a sharp knife on the other side. It has where you can measure. So if you're planting bulbs, it's great for weeding. It just has a great grip to it. I have small hands and I can grip it really nice. So I highly recommend it. For this, I'm going to use the serrated edge. Be sure you keep your fingers away. I think I've made it through. Okay, let me turn it around. And it's okay if the dirt comes off. It's not a problem. And you may even lose a few leaves. That is okay. All right. So there is one. We still have amazing root structure on here. So I am not worried about this guy at all. Great root structure. It's just going to do beautiful. And we've got a new baby shoot, which I love. It adds so much fun. I last year started adding these spider ferns. They're spider ferns because they have these little branches that look like little spiders. This one's about to open up. And the last thing that I want to tackle, we're going to put our baby shoots over here as well, is this asparagus fern. Now, I love asparagus fern. This was actually mixed in last year with annuals in my gutter bed that was along my gutters at the summer kitchen. And so I saved it. There's actually annuals still right here that I couldn't get out of the container. So today what I want to do is get this guy out, try to divide it up, and it's going to be just beautiful in this container. So this guy is very root bound because, again, it has been in this container since last spring. So that's a really, really long time. There we go. All right, let's look at these roots. Wow. Look at all those roots. Isn't that crazy? Now, some of that is probably left over from the annuals, but some of it is the asparagus fern. Okay, so now that we've got all our components, I am just going to clean up my mess, put this aside, and we're going to build this beautiful container. So we've got all these incredible components. I am going to just go ahead and gently lay them out. Oh, that's going to be so pretty. All right, let's get this second one in. I think this is going to be so beautiful with these once they all get little blooms on them, just kind of popping out of this arrangement. Okay, next I want to come in with my geraniums, and I'm just going to start popping them around. These are going to get really large, and I kind of want them coming out of the container a little bit as well as popping up. So I'm going to pop this one in. Let's just pop that one in right there. And this one's really large. I think this would be great on this end to just kind of fill in this corner. Okay, this was the really tall, super large one. And so I think I'm going to put it here in the center. And that way it will just fill in really beautifully. All right, now we're going to go ahead and add these last two components. I'm going to start with the largest one. Beautiful. All right, and then we've got this one. All right, you guys, I think it's really turning out really pretty. So now I've got some scissors and I'm just going to trim this trash bag, and then we're going to add some moss, and then we'll be all finished. And to give it a finished look, I got some live moss, and I'm just going to add some pieces in the front, which will also help with moisture and just supporting these little guys as they grow. And I like these. They come in sheets, and they just recommend that you get them wet. They are live. And then you can just pull them apart and kind of use them as you need them. They have paper on the back, so we're just going to take that off. And then we can just kind of pull them apart and plop them in, which also helps cover up, kind of tuck our plastic down. Okay, so isn't this beautiful? I just absolutely love it. I think it's going to be so gorgeous on our table this spring. Now, since it is almost 60 today and the sun is so beautiful, I'm going to leave this outdoors while I clean up, probably through the afternoon. It's just going to soak in all the sunshine. I'm going to give it a good drink of water, and then probably next week, I will go ahead and give it a little grow fertilizer. I had fertilized all these about a month ago, but we cut them up today and did a little surgery. So we definitely want to make sure that they've got some nutrients to just start growing. I'm going to go get some water and we'll get all this cleaned up. Okay, so got the arrangement all watered, and I love the mix of colors. We've got so many different textures and colors of green. And then we're going to have these deep pink geraniums and the darker red geraniums pop out. I think it's going to be gorgeous. So I will give you an update on this as we get through the season, and we'll see how it turns out. But for today, I'm going to leave it out here on the patio. Again, it's going to get so much sunlight today. It's over 60. I think it's really going to soak it up, enjoy it, and then I'll take it inside tonight under grow lights where it will stay for a couple more weeks, give it some fertilizer, and I think it's just going to thrive. So thanks so much for watching today, and I hope you'll click like, subscribe. Spring is on the way. I can't wait to share my garden with you. Thanks, everybody.